Good morning, my fellow yoga travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, live the life we love. Don't forget to loaf and lubricate. So, Thursday, it's my little story day. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidic tradition, was once asked by his students, is it okay to go study with this other teacher in a different town who was supposed to be a master Kabbalist? And instead of getting offended, he said, sure, you can study with any teacher you want. And they asked him, well, how will we know if he's bona fide or a charlatan? Well, if he gives you a definitive answer about how to overcome evil once and for all, then you know he's a charlatan. Because it's the lot of a human being to wrestle with that and struggle with that till the day you die. So, to that end, first I want to remind us from the point of view of what I call my affirmation teachers. Do you realize that anything you decide to do, you do easily when you're aligned with your own source energy? So the way to do that is to continually reach for thoughts that feel the best instead of indulging yourself in thoughts that don't feel good and don't serve you. And if you learn how to do that, the first thing you'll do is you'll go on a rampage of appreciation. You'll learn how important it is to praise everything and be thankful, grateful for all the things that you have in your life and any advantages that you've been given, or if you've been able to pull yourself up from trials to triumphs. And remember, you got to put some energy into this. It doesn't happen. What's the difference between try and triumph? Oomph. So you got to put something into it. Then what I've learned from my meditation teachers in terms of being mindful is not trying to block any thought that arises. It's not possible anyway. Thoughts bubble up by themselves like oatmeal in a pot. You can't help it. But don't let them invade your mind. And how do you do that? Stare back at the thought. Try to find the source of the thought, because as you investigate it, its apparent solidity will melt away. And then you'll get out of what I call the spin cycle of your mind. It'll interrupt the tape loop, the continually repeating of the story to yourself by bringing you back to the moment so you can respond to what is actually happening rather than to the story in your mind. Then you tie that into recognizing that anytime there's a breaking of the status quo, it's a kind of ritual initiation. It takes you down. And the tragedy is not that we have negative experiences, it's that we're not taught that those are failed initiations. Something could have happened and it didn't happen. How do you reclaim it? How do you find out? And of course, for me, yoga is the way that I learn a personal bonding to initiatory experiences. And then it teaches me how to bond with other people in my own circle, and then bond to other people outside of it. So intrapersonal within oneself, interpersonal between other people, and then intergroup, which we still haven't learned to do as a society or a planet. But only modernity thinks that this kind of maturity happens automatically, that you can leave people. No, no. People have to be trained, people have to be educated, people have to be shown. Otherwise, the idea of the conflict resolution that exists right now in the cauldron of human emotions and socialism, it doesn't exist. Look how poorly we're doing it. You think that would be enough time for us to wake up? So all I can say is don't accommodate yourself to the rules in a simplistic way, like a parent who doesn't want the child to act out or else make it easy for themselves. You have to learn, especially as you become an elder, that a vigorous no is more important than a compliant yes. So draw good boundaries for yourself. And then the kinds of power that we really have, well, there's a power of what I call lasting, leaving, and left. The lasting power is what you do as a young person. Once you step into the workforce in your early 20s, you finish your school, and you dig your heels in, and you maintain a certain position in life for umpteenth years. But it doesn't last forever. At a certain point, that winds down, and now you're getting ready for leaving. Whether you give two notices or you slam the door and say, fuck you, I'm out of here, doesn't matter. At some point, the psychology that had you hanging in there and lasting for a long while, that's not going to help you when you move from that period to the next period. We have to leave it behind and develop a new way of dealing with things. And as you learn to leave, you head toward the last stage of your life, which is what's left. What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind you? That's the message I have for you today. What are you going to leave behind you? How have you lasted? How are you going to leave it? And what's left behind? Have a beautiful day. The Good Vibrations class, which is a little bit on its vacation now, we'll have another session on the last Wednesday of this month. the 31st. In another week or two, we'll put out the subject and you'll see what it is. I hope you can join us then.